Hi everyone, it's Misty here from TheJollyFatElf. Thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to another day in my 2023 holiday card series. Hello. So I'm not going to apologize for being gone, but I am going to explain to you kind of what's been happening the last couple of weeks. So the week before Thanksgiving, I had kind of pre-filmed some intros and mentioned that my grandmother had passed away and I just wasn't in a good headspace to create. So she passed away on Friday. I want to say I filmed those intros like either early Sunday or Monday. And then Monday night, my world was basically turned upside down. If you didn't know, I've been undergoing genetic testing for the last few months because I had a diagnosis in 2017 that was then taken away in 2021. Anyway, the fact of the matter is I finally have a diagnosis after 7 years, and I have a form of muscular dystrophy called FSHD. It's like facioscapulohumeral muscular dystrophy, and it is confirmed through genetic testing that I have that, and this is what has been wrong with me this whole entire time. Unfortunately, there's no treatment, and that kind of made me spiral because the whole entire time I was like, please just let it be some treatment so I can get out of the house and do some things on my own again. And unfortunately, that's just not the case. So between that and the emotions I felt toward the doctors who's basically just dismissed me this whole entire time, and some stuff with my brother, all of the things kind of went into this tsunami of like executive dysfunction. I was just kind of paralyzed. I did have videos and cards filmed, but my brother and my nephew showed up unexpectedly, and I just didn't have time to sit down and do intros and edit them and stuff like that. And after that, last week, I was sick on Thanksgiving, so it's just been one thing after the other, literally since February of this year. But this series has brought me so much joy, but there are going to be times going forward where I may not post, but I will do my best to come back and explain. Now, it is my intent to do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday every single week until Christmas Day. I'm going to sit down today. I'm filming this on Tuesday, the 28th. I'm going to sit down today and I'm going to figure out what I want to do and focus on over the next few weeks. So if you have any questions or suggestions on what you would like to see over the next few weeks, please let me know. I wish I could say like I said, I'll be back with digital, and then I wasn't feeling digital. So I think I've mentioned before that I don't sit down and create like a sample. I kind of sit down and let the creativity take me wherever it's going to take me. So I can't say for sure like I'm going to use this particular stamp set or we're going to do this particular technique. I kind of just have to let it go where it goes. So anyway, that's where my head's been, and that's where I've been, and I apologize for that. And I apologize for my computer still dinging. So this week I had some, listen, this is the second time I'm filming this video, so yeah. Anyway, this week we are doing more kind of non-stamping, still somewhat beginner-friendly cards. I'm using more of the die cuts from Doodlebug, and I'm going to be using dies. So like we're going to be doing die cutting and using die cuts in this video. There's no stamping this week at all, but we'll be back to that in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, hi. Again, I hate that I was gone, but at the same time, it's like I have to I lost my therapist, I'm getting a new therapist, I had to up my antidepressant. Like there's been all of these things going on that I try not to bring to this channel, but I felt like you were owed an explanation. So there we go. So yeah, so if you haven't already, I hope you'll consider subscribing. It isn't always like this, I promise, but it can be sometimes. Be sure to leave me a comment if you're new so I can welcome you to our little Elfie community. I do have an Etsy shop where I sell my cards. I can't promise these cards are listed because I haven't had a chance to take pictures of them yet as I'm filming this intro. So I won't have listing photos for them just yet, but I do have other cards available. What else? You can still pick up a holiday card kit. I'm going to leave those up for another week or so, and then I will remove those, and there's information about all of that over there. So yeah. Facebook, Instagram, groups, all of the things. So anyway, without further ado, let's head over to the craft table and I'm gonna walk you through the first 3 cards. All right, friends, welcome. I apologize that the intro was pretty lengthy, but I felt like you deserved an answer to where I've been, and I want to keep you in the loop. So again, it really won't affect this channel, other than there may be days where I'm not able to post, and I will try to stay on some kind of consistent schedule. Going forward in 2024, I may get back down to just 2 videos a week. 3 videos a week is a lot. Plus I'm on 2 different design teams, although I've kind of paused those for now. I am going to be sharing the Stamp Anything videos on this channel going forward. So you'll have a video almost every Friday for sure. So I'm meeting Monday, Fridays or Wednesday, Fridays. I haven't quite decided. We'll see. I haven't quite decided. So I have some things on my desk and I'm trying to get them moved around. This is all leftover paper. You guys have seen my bag of leftover paper. This pattern paper is from the 12 by 12 of this gingerbread collection from Doodlebug that I've been using. You can see here I have a lot of cardstock and I'm pulling that in. I'm trying to use up what I have to be as zero waste as possible. So that's why I've called a lot of these videos, using leftovers, because we are literally using our leftovers. So in this video, this is really the only die cutting I'm doing on camera. So this is from Hello Bluebird, and it has 2 parts. So it cuts out a scallop border and it cuts out a frame where it has the three windows. So it does 2 different things, and I'm going to use one on one card and one on the other card. You're getting 3 cards today. I'm going to be doing 2 of the gingerbread train, and then I have a Santa card. Santa. So do you have your tree up? We put ours up Sunday. I'll try to insert a picture. It's so pretty. It's leaning a little bit on the top. If you've been on Facebook or my YouTube post, you saw that it's leaning a little bit on the top. And that's not the best picture, but I wanted a picture to go with what I was telling you guys yesterday, and that's the one that I decided on, because I haven't taken a face picture in forever. This is how I store my dies. They're on a magnetic sheet. I did pick up, there's some die storage on Amazon where you get the magnetic sheets and you get envelopes, and I like that. I've been transitioning to that too. So this frame, I wanted to use this pattern paper and I wanted that frame around it. The problem is it's like cut to the exact. So rather than try to glue this onto the front, I've turned this over and I'm using washi tape to just adhere it together so I can get this adhered down. So there's my tip from me to you. This is a way, again, that I wanted to use this pattern with this frame, and it was going to be a little tedious. So I went ahead and did it this way. I'm using liquid glue, and then I'm going to get this centered, and then I'm going to peel it right back off. I'm going to peel it right back off, and that's why I'm glad I used liquid glue this time. I just wanted to make sure it was straight. I wanted to make sure that it was taking up the entirety of the piece of paper, and that all edges were down, and I managed to do that. So here are the train pieces. So you've got the conductor, the little gingerbread conductor in the engine, and then it came with like 6 or 7 different designs for train cars. And I'm just trying to figure out which ones I want and which ones will really go with this color scheme. And I'm just setting them on the border kind of as the train tracks. And first I was like 4, and I was like, no, let's do 3. So yeah. So when it comes to die cutting and creating like this, I like the look of stitching. I just love the look of that. I like to have scallops. I love circles. I love shapes. I love all of it. And sometimes a card can really call for it, like this one. That border is perfect because the star of the show is the die cuts, right? So you want it to kind of enhance what you're putting down. And that scallop is just so cute. It brings some texture. It brings some, some interesting elements to this card. And so, yeah. So I'm still on a mission to use up all this Queen & Co. foam. I really wanted their new Christmas kit, but that thing sold out in like 2.5 seconds. I also really want some of the new Hello Bluebird release. I did not purchase it, and I told Rob I will in the future. That Santa and that deer set, oh my God, that might be the cutest Santa I've ever seen in my life. The issue is it's like a husband and wife team, and they are slow to ship. and I thought that I wouldn't get the new ones in time for this holiday card series. So I have some that I haven't used from years past, so I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to pick up that stamp after Christmas and use it next year or something. So there's card number 1. Card number 2, I'm going to be bringing in this frame. So again, this is the second piece from that Hello Bluebird die, and then you've got the squares as well. So I'm trying to decide on what color do I want my layer to be, and I'm using this card to kind of size it up because that is the size that I like to use, which is folded. It's 3.5 by 8.5, but I cut it at 7 by 8.5, and then I score it at 3.5, and that gives you a perfectly sized slimline card. Oh, here I'm putting in an inside layer. This, you might be able to see like a black ink on this color green, but I felt like it just made sense to go ahead and add a white inside layer. So this one I did completely different than what I normally would. So we're still using the little gingerbread conductor and the 2 train cars, but I'm also going to be bringing in a leftover tab that I made for my planner that I ended up not using. So this is still the 12 by 12 paper that I'm trying to use up. And again, this is, you can see I punched it and everything, and I punched the holes in correctly. I love when I do that. I love that for me. So, but I decided that I wanted to use this paper, and that frame covers that perfectly. So I'm just cutting off the tab, and then I'm going to get this here down with some tape. And then I'm going to use some liquid glue to get that frame down. Now, initially I considered cutting this frame out or this die out with sticker paper with the paper on the back of the cardstock, and I just decided to skip that because I didn't feel like having to mess around with it. So once the glue dries, I'm going to bring in my Xyron adhesive eraser. It's basically like a piece of rubber, and you can just use it to remove any glue that might have gotten onto the front of the paper. So I decided to do this as little vignettes. So I am trying to pick out the other train cards that I want to use, and I'm going to get them adhered to this card, and that's really going to be about it. So I am not one who would normally do this. I'm not normally one who would have a pattern paper border. I would almost always have a solid border. And I honestly love the look of this. It is a bigger pattern and it's a little bit busier. So these don't necessarily pop as much, but I feel like they're the absolute perfect accompaniment to these die cuts. I just love it so much. This pattern paper has my heart, like my whole entire heart. I may have to buy some more after Christmas. We'll see. We'll see. I am bound and determined to use up all these die cuts on cards, so I may be using these die cuts into February and March, creating some cards on the side. I don't think I will have these listed just yet in the Etsy shop, but if you're interested in any of them, you can always reach out to me via email, or you can send me a message on Etsy, and I can create either a listing for you on Etsy, or we can, do it through PayPal, Apple Pay, Venmo, Cash App, whatever works for you, Zelle. So yeah, again, continuing to use this big bag of foam that is left over, and I'm trying to decide if I want to put this on a card, and I decided not to. So the first one I put onto a folded card. This one, I just added a piece of white paper to the back, and I'm going to call it good. So this isn't something I would normally do, but invitations and some cards come on a single piece of paper. They don't always come folded. And I thought, you know what? This would work better without having a card base on it because it's vertical. And I think I'm going to do that more often. So you could, stamp on the back, write a sentiment, write a note, add some more die cuts. It's completely up to you. And there you can see all that sparkle from that Nuvo glitter pen. So again, I mentioned that I just kind of let the creativity take me where it's going. And this is an example of that. You're going to see me kind of go through and pick out different things. If I forgot to mention, that little bag on the side is a bag of sesame sticks. I was craving them, so Rob ran to our Sprouts and got me a couple of scoopfuls, and they're just so good. He hates them, but I love them. I can remember getting like a trail mix or something as a kid at the Peanut Shack in the mall. And those were always my favorite. Always. And they're kind of my favorite too in these, they're not Sargentos. What are they called? I can't remember. The one that has like the Melba toast in it. I don't remember what those are called. But anyway, I like those little sesame sticks in that too. So good. Okay, so I am using one of the dies from Pink and Main to cut out this piece of light paper that is from that 6x6 paper pad from Doodlebug. So this, I'm not using a scrap piece of pattern paper. I cut this one down. So this is a new piece of paper. This is a scrap piece of cardstock though, and this is a scrap card base. So again, using a plush folder, and I'm changing out my glue. I'm going to get this adhered down. This is a 1/4 inch, and then this is about a 1/4 inch smaller, and we're going to get that down flat. The next thing I'm going to do is bring in my bag of things, and I am going to decide on a pattern paper. I knew that I wanted to make a Santa card. I just wasn't sure what Santa I wanted to use. So that's why you see me going through all of them. And again, I have divided up these die cuts into kind of like versus like. And these are the envelopes, the clear envelopes that I put my cards in. I just stole a couple of them. So here's my big bag of scraps, the original big bag of scraps. And I already have some of these smaller rectangles cut out of various different patterns. And I am bringing in all of the patterns to discern if I want to use one of them. And I do end up using this polka dot paper, I believe. Sometimes I just have to see it in order to make a decision. And again, I'm on a mission to use up this paper. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm pulling from it when I can. And I thought this was the perfect card in order to do that, because these are already been cut with a stitch rectangle from that Pink and Main die set. So they're already ready to go. I just didn't use them before. Here I'm just trying to decide which Santa I want, and I decide on the Santa with the bag, but I did not like any of these patterns. But I think I decide on the polka dot. I love it because it actually has the colors that are in the paper, the light paper that's behind it. So I am going to use some of the Scotch adhesive foam to mounting tape, I think is what it's called, to adhere this because I want it popped up, but I didn't want it popped up a lot. I'm going to adhere the Santa down flat, and then I'm going to bring in some of the pattern paper. One of the patterns has tags on it. One of the patterns has sentiment strips on it. So I decide to bring in a tag, and I'm going to cut that out with some scissors. I'll show you that in a minute. So I could completely leave this card without a sentiment, and I am prone to do that. But I felt like it needed something. It needs some kind of embellishment, and I thought one of these tags would be the perfect, just would be fitted perfectly. So that's what I decided to do. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer, and I know this is off frame, but I'm just cutting out one of the sentiments. You really don't have to see that. You just cut on the line. And then I'm going to adhere this to a piece of cardstock, and then I'm going to cut around it. And here I'm just cutting off the top, so it's more of a tag shape. And I'm going to use this scrap piece of paper to adhere this to, and then I'm going to cut around it with my trimmer so it is an exact size. And then we're going to get this adhered with some more adhesive foam, and then that's going to be it. That is 3 cards that I have for you today. So as I mentioned, I don't have photographs for you just yet, but I will try to get those up in the next couple of days. Again, you can pick up a holiday card kit. Down in the description box is a link to my Etsy shop. I do have other ones that I'm going to add on, hopefully this weekend. I know we're getting kind of close to Christmas, but I think you still have plenty of time. I ship within 2 or 3 days. So yeah. Anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me today, friends. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, I hope you'll consider subscribing. If you made it this far and don't know what to comment, leave me a Santa emoji. All right, friends, I will see you tomorrow for another video. Bye for now.